Welcome back to the Rules of Engagement. We're now onto the Q&A portion of the show. Got a couple of questions, and the first one is going to be from Daniel McIntosh. What is the use of infestors in PvZ and Heart of the Swarm, or the use in general for Zerg versus anything of infestors? So, versus Protoss, we saw one of the uses back there. You can use Fungal to help lock down the unit style Locust to get in there and do the damage. Now, most Zergs prefer to use Abducts in the similar technique. Most of the Protoss army can run away. You yank back one unit into the Locust, it gets taken out. I think Infestors are slightly underutilized because they are weaker, but they're still great. If your opponent goes mass Void Ray, they're still great combining army with just this. Just literally a ton of Swarmos, some Infestors, and some Queens. And if you can push the ground back with the Swarm Hosts, because Void Rays don't actually kill Locusts super well, then behind that, if you can push the Templar back, the Queen Infestor combination works really great against Void Rays. Queens on their own, they work pretty good. But if you can prevent the Void Rays from trying to maneuver around and pick Queens off from the side angles, abusing the Queen's slow speed, use the Fungals to lock them down, then the Queens are much better. So against Mass Protoss Air, always have a few Infestors. You can't go pure Infestor like you used to do, but a few is good. Against Terran, I think I'm seeing some Zergs use Infestors. A lot of Zergs are preferring to use Swarm Hosts to deactivate mines. But you can try to use Infested Terrans to deactivate Widow Mines. Throw a couple Terrans in the minefield, and once the mines blow up, the rest of your army comes in. Late game versus Terran, Infestors are still very good with Ultras. You don't 100% need them, but it's highly advised if you do an Ultras against Terran late game, get those Infestors. It's a great late game combination. If you prevent the bio from kiting, Ultras kill all bio very quickly if it can't kite, because Ultras got a significant buff in Heart of the Swarm. And then Zerg versus Zerg, if you both open Muta, once you get to 4 bases and you're approaching max on pure Muta, then it's a good idea. Once you have a lot of economy, so you know if you give up map control, it's not that big a deal because you're already at max economy. You can give up map control, build a couple spores in every base to cover yourself while you tech to Infestors, and Infestor Muta will beat pure Muta. The tricky part is if you try to transition too early, your opponent will get map control. They might be able to kill you. If you build too many spores, you can turtle up, but they'll take more bases, and they'll be ahead economically. So you gotta wait till you have a pretty good section of bases before you make that transition. Next question is going to be from Teodrowski. What do you think is a good way to deal with the loaded Tempest? But of course, attack with Vikings, but he also has Void Ray cover. So Vikings will actually beat Void Ray Tempest. As long as you're even with upgrades, you can kite back from the Void Rays. The Tempest can shoot you, but as long as the Void Rays aren't, you're going to slaughter them, because Tempest kill Vikings pretty slowly. The tricky part is Tempest plus Psystorm. That's what's going to really wreck your Vikings. So it really comes down to two things. If you're using Bio, if they try to take the Tempest, you should be way ahead of them in bases. And then what you want to do is you just want to completely ignore the Tempest. Don't even think about it. Just use your Ghost to neutralize the High Templar, and move in with the rest of your army. Right? The Marines will kill them. You can make Vikings if you want, because the Marines will kill the Void Rays. But it's all about the Ghost versus Templar micro, which of course always comes down to Observer sniping. Super important to snipe Observers if your opponent is using Tempest. Observers are big at spotting. They can see your Cloak Ghosts. Make sure you snipe those Observers. If you're going mech in a late game, that's where you really want to actually use add in Ravens. Right? That late in the game, you should have a lot of gas. Right? If they try to use Tempest very early, you can beat them with Vikings. Later on, once they have Storm support, that's when you want to have the Ravens, so you can neutralize the Tempest while your Hellbats push in. And your Hellbats can push the Templar. Your Hellbat tank, or Hellbat Thor, pushes the Templar back, and then behind it, you can move into Widow Mines, you can move into Vikings. It's basically all about pushing back the support for the Tempest, because once they're isolated, once they don't have the support, your Vikings can clear them up. Even against Void Rays, you mix in like 1 or 2 Thors for the splash. Viking Thor will crush Void Ray Tempest if you can push back their support units. So next question is going to be from Aqueous Courts. And it says, Swarm Hosts will be the best unit in the game when people find out how to use them properly. That's not, I mean, it's exclamation mark, so it's not really a question, but I'm going to pretend it's a question. I think Swarm Hosts will be one of the best units in the game once people really figure out the range on them and where to position them to hit certain bases. For example, Cloud Kingdom. You can siege a third from on top of the ridge. most players go below the ridge, but the swarm most are on the low ground, they're much more vulnerable. If you stay on top of the ridge, you're much safer. As people learn their positionings, key positionings on different maps like that, they'll be much stronger. But what that's going to make is it's going to make other players really change their playstyle, right? We'll have to see a lot more blink stalker mobility plays, a lot more use of mothership and aggressive Protoss forces to distract the swarmos and then recoiling out. We're going to see a lot more cool plays like that. And so while swarmos, once they're understood, will be extremely powerful, the fact that they only shoot one locust wave every 25 seconds is something that can be semi-exploited. But it's going to require a lot of skill, a lot of cool tactical play from their opponents. It's going to make the game, I think, a lot kind of cooler to watch as a fan of tactics and strategy. So it's going to be pretty awesome. Anyways, thank you guys for watching Rules of Engagement. That's it for today. We'll be back again tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. We have the next round of our 2v2 tournament. The winner of tomorrow's match on Wednesday will play Grubby and Todd. Grubby and Todd, of course, beat the team Guns and Broaches, Gift of Gab, today against Destiny Minigun. They won that series. You can catch the VODs at youtube.com/official MLGSC2. A lot of cool games. 2v2 is fun. So tomorrow, 2v2. After 2v2, another episode of Rules of Engagement. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.